me through this if you can. In almost every sports fandom setting, the younger player, the kid, the rookie, is always the one who gets the benefit of the doubt. Let me put it in a different term here. Let's say Landon Roberts really messes up a play, just totally butchers his assignment, misses a tackle, dude goes in for a touchdown. That's bad, Landon. We don't like Landon. Peyton Wilson does that, and we say, hey, he's new. We love Peyton Wilson. We actually kind of do. And we're okay with that because he's our inside linebacker of the future. Why are we not doing this with not just quarterback, the franchise quarterback discussion that's being had in town right now? Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is my new double shot program that shows up your way on all platforms at 4 p.m. Eastern. And the Steelers will be playing the Broncos on Sunday in Denver. I'll be flying out there tomorrow to cover it, of course. And it's about Justin Fields. It just is. The weekend is about Justin Fields. Look, the defense, I think, is going to end up stealing the headlines because I think there's a terrible mismatch here between what Pittsburgh brings defensively and what Denver has offensively, not to mention the young, new, exciting quarterback that the Broncos have in Bo Nix, who they're going to like even if he gets sacked 8 times because he's the young guy. Where the Steelers' future is concerned, where the franchise's future is concerned, I think it could begin to be at least partly shaped by how Fields does. I don't think he has to be great. I don't think he was great in Atlanta. I think he has to take his team, his offense, onto the field and just succeed. Come out of there with a W. He's been saying the same stuff, by the way, for weeks. He said, my only interest in any of this, repeated it just yesterday, is to come out of there with a W. And you can say that and sound all cliche-ish and whatever, but so far, it's what he's done. He hasn't gotten into any of the who's the starting quarterback, who's not the starting quarterback. What do you think about Russell Wilson getting the first team reps? What do you think about this or that? He just says, I'm here to help the team win games. He's been, I think, appropriately and duly humbled by his experience in Chicago. He's come here, and he's just found his own way to take over the team. Take over the team. I'm convinced it's his team. I'm also more than convinced it's going to be his team on Sunday because this is what the head coach had to say about it just a little bit ago.
Regarding Russell's availability, I'm going to list him as questionable. And so obviously if his availability is questionable, then starting is less so. But we've been in that mindset all week, man. Like I've said, we've been focused on getting Justin ready to play, and we'll continue in that mindset as we push forward toward game time.
Now cue up all the conspiracy theories. Wilson's injury isn't real. Tomlin told him to fake a calf injury so he doesn't get embarrassed and all this other stuff. None of it's true. Okay, Wilson's actually hurt. But that's also part of the equation here. Wilson's been hurt since the day before training camp practices started. That's a sign that you're maybe possibly 36 years old. Fields is a full decade younger, and he's got all these tools, and he's got the character, he's got the mojo. His teammates, truth be told here, are rallying around him. Not to the point where they're shoving out Russ, but they're rallying around him. You actually can do both things. So why doesn't it feel like the city is just yet? Why does it still feel like there's some kind of divide here? And what's it going to take to get everybody to realize that everything you've wanted ever since Ben Roethlisberger retired is kind of starting to happen?
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Joined now by Chris Halleck over on the south side. He just came out of the Steelers locker room. And Chris, now that the word is, I guess, at least as close to official as you're going to get it, meaning with Russell Wilson being declared questionable by Mike Tomlin, and Tomlin restating that, we've been preparing for Fields all week long. Now it's his challenge. It's his hill to climb. And what's that going to entail? Like, what's the next level for him above Atlanta? Beyond the obvious, he's got to get a touchdown.
Well, the one thing that I want to continue to see from Justin Fields, and I think the Steelers also want to see from Justin Fields, is the ability to continue to stay on schedule as he did in Atlanta, but then to also become a little bit more aggressive downfield. Not saying that they didn't want to do that in Atlanta. They did. They took their shots. But I think as this continues to develop, this isn't going. I'm trying to read the tea leaves and read between the lines of what Arthur Smith is saying, what Najee Harris is saying, what all these guys are saying, is that they are comfortable with not dinking and dunking, but literally just, instead of going for the kill shot, trying to get the knockout punch in the first round, literally just beating down defenses, doing body blow after body blow. And I think that's what they're comfortable with. And Justin's role in that is his ability to do that with his legs, but also the ability to make aggressive throws downfield, because that obviously plays into his wheelhouse. And that's what they're going to scheme him up to do, is because that's what Justin's made to do. He's made to kill defenses with his legs and then also with the deep ball.
The deep ball, right. But we also saw, you and I, all through training camp and everywhere else, that he's comfortable throwing across the middle. More than comfortable, even into, well, I don't want to start talking about him throwing into traffic, but we've seen that too. And we've seen it done with both accuracy and touch and leading the receiver. Remember the tight end throw in the last preseason game in Detroit? This is a player who's shown that he can do a little bit of everything here. Listen, if I'm Sean Payton and I'm looking at that film from Atlanta and I'm studying the Steelers, I don't even know that I bother putting anybody in the middle of the field. Okay? I mean, the tape doesn't lie. The X's and the O's don't lie. So if I'm the Steelers, why wouldn't I come out? I would even do this on first or second down. Find Pat Freiermuth right across the middle. Make him think.
Yeah, if the Broncos are going to try to play the game of playing middle field open all day, which is for everybody who doesn't understand the football jargon there, that's cover 2, cover 4, meaning safeties are literally leaving the middle of the field open.
Think Cincinnati Bengals, okay?
Yeah,
Cincinnati Bengals against Freiermuth last year, where it was just a joke, or Freiermuth was even laughing about it after the game. He goes, "Why would we not take that? They gave us the whole space."
Yeah, and that's exactly what Cincinnati was in those middle field open coverages. If Denver wants to play that way, then yeah, Arthur Smith is going to attack him that way. And Arthur Smith is smart enough to be able to adjust and do that in case Denver comes out with that or doesn't come out with that. He can adjust to it. I do think the one thing that I want to see from Justin Fields when it comes to throwing over the middle of the field, because he obviously, as we saw in the preseason, has the ability to do it.
Yes.
The issue is that the numbers throughout his career haven't always been great, especially in the intermediate range. And I think it's because he still needs to grow and develop in terms of trusting his eyes and making throws necessary and not being too late.
Release it before you. Yes.
It's that throwing with anticipation that we talked about. Because if he doesn't throw with anticipation and if he waits until he thinks then a guy is open, even though he was already open a quarter of a second ago or however long ago, it's already too late. And now that window is closed, and now that's either an incomplete pass or maybe even worse, an interception.
Now, if one of the countless criticisms that arose regarding Fields over the past week, and you can tell that I don't take these too seriously at this point at all, because all I've seen is not the player who was in Chicago. To my eyes, to what I've seen, he's not that guy who was there for 3 years with the Bears. Doesn't mean he won't somehow regress into it or whatever else, but so far, okay, benefit of the doubt. What I see and saw in Atlanta that some people, and this actually did happen, was that Smith cut up the field for Fields. He would say, listen, you're looking over here. all you're doing is studying this or this. He's not doing 4 checks. Okay, I think we can agree on that. I also think we could agree, Chris, or I don't want to speak for you here, but isn't that just a healthy approach? Isn't that just a way to make him better?
I would agree with that to a certain extent, because yes, you can scheme up certain plays and put together a game plan that plays to the quarterback's strengths, especially if those strengths are great against the opposing defense. But at the same time, Justin has shown the ability for certain types of concepts, especially the concepts that read literally left to right, first read, second read, third read, fourth read, like in a row. He's shown the ability to scan and go across those, but not every passing concept is that simple. And so, right, whenever you do have certain plays, like the one to George Pickens deep down the field.
I knew you were gonna say it. I knew that's what you were going to.
Because Justin reads that coverage exactly correct.
He did.
And he has the ability to see, okay, they're playing this coverage on one side, they're playing that coverage on the other side. And he knows, okay, especially whenever they call a timeout, when they were already going to be, I mean, he said that yesterday. He's like, we had that play called, they called a timeout, and I had a feeling they were going to be doing this. And so when Arthur Smith's intel and what he knew about Atlanta showed through the coaching and showed through the game plan. Now the challenge is he going to have the same smarts when he's playing a team he didn't coach before?
I'd be remiss, Chris, if I didn't ask you about the general mood. It's the last availability to the media after the last full practice of the week heading into Denver. Tomorrow, the team they have their standard Saturday walkthrough. They're going to board their charter flight in the early afternoon and make it out there. What's the vibe in there right now?
They're ready to win. they're excited. This is a team that's 1-0 and they're acting like it. It doesn't mean that they're cocky. Doesn't mean that they think that they're about to roll through the AFC North or anything like that. I mean, it's week 2, but at the same time, they're feeling good right now. There's no reason for them to feel bad about themselves. They're getting a little healthier on the offensive line. Isaac Seumalo, I'm not playing spoiler here or anything like that. He's not going to play Sunday. But they are getting healthier. There's the tackle situation to watch with Dan Moore, Broderick Jones, Troy Fautanu. But getting more guys in the fold is going to help. They're getting healthier. They're feeling better. Justin Fields has a W under his belt right now. I mean, they're feeling good. The positive vibes in that locker room today.
Good stuff, Chris. Thanks as always. When we come back, our J1Q segment.
Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different. Help prevent gun accidents, misuse, and theft. Keep firearms safe and secure when not in use. For safe storage options, visit projectchildsafe.org.
Today's J1Q comes from Dan Finnegan in Bremerton, Washington.
I was wondering why Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith didn't call a timeout there with the 4th and 1 that where the Atlanta Falcons were stuffing the line of scrimmage. Looked like they were prepared for the quarterback sneak.
You know, Dan, I find, first off, I just have to say this, okay? I find that this fan base gets into the small stuff so much more than the big stuff. And I guess that's just part of being as passionate as this fan base happens to be. But I'll get more feedback about stuff like the 4th and 1 that you described than about, say, I don't know, the really macro stuff that goes into preparing for and winning a football game. The Steelers did a lot of things right in Atlanta. I just feel obligated to say that first and foremost, because the game prep was there. The plan was the right plan. They didn't always execute everything that you wanted. They didn't get into the end zone. The defense came out a little bit slow, but overall, what they went into Atlanta to do, they did. I just have to get that one out of my system first before we get into the 4th and 1 and whatever else. And there were some other decisions that weren't necessarily Tomlin's. You know, Arthur Smith going going for a run on 3rd and long. I think he did that twice. That's not great. I wasn't wild about not kicking a field goal while the Steelers were down there deep in the Atlanta zone. 4th and 1, timeout. Let me put this. I could come up with some kind of possible reason that he'd have for it, okay? And I would sound really, really, inside football and whatever else here. I'm going to instead be real with you. When this man takes the field, he has already in his mind done all of his prep. He has already put together his plan. Now, from this point onward, and he's discussed this, not in exactly these types of words, but I think I'm doing him justice here, where everything from there is just not winging it, but just gut. Okay. He sees a situation. He feels a situation. There's a 4th and 1. There's a priority that he'll place on a certain player that he's feeling trust in. There's a certain side of the field that he wants to attack. And yeah, the timeouts, look, his clock management, I think we can pick apart his clock management from here to eternity. I really do. And we'll end up being right and he'll end up being wrong in every one of those analyses. But the bottom line is we're not out there. We're not responsible for that team in that time. And I always try to remember that even when I know he's dead wrong. Does that work as an answer for you? I sure hope so. I hope everyone enjoyed Daily Shot, the first week of Daily Shot this week. Pass the word along. And we do the morning Daily Shots on each of the 3 teams, Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. And then we do this double shot at 4 p.m. Eastern every day. And it's been fun. It's kind of starting to take on a little bit of its own personality, which is the goal. And it'll probably take a little bit longer as well. So, again, appreciate you. We're going to do another one of these on Monday. I don't think it'll be at exactly 4 because I'm flying home from Denver that day. So it's going to be in the evening, but we will have one after the game.